one of the very first things that China would do in a conflict, they would jam GPS.
Jam everything.
Jam everything, right? And so if your weapon systems, if your drones are unable to operate without GPS, you're not in a good spot. And again, what I have talked to a lot of military leaders and leaders in the EY and the LY about is everybody's going to tell you they can do it, right? But just ask them to say, what's your qualitative data from Ukraine? What's your quantitative data? Walk us through how you're achieving this. And if they can't show you, like, I can pull up 20 different missions from Ukraine that we've done in the past couple months. Yeah. And every single one of those, GPS and communications is jammed. Go to Ukraine and ask the Ukrainians what products work when GPS is jammed. And I promise you, they'll say, well, the only one that works when GPS is jammed and it's not connected to a fiber optic cable, they're going to say is Shield AI.
Hello， 大家好，欢迎回到Side Chat， 我是 Inside 的编辑米娅。
我是 Fox。那今天节目邀请到的来宾是 Shield AI 的共同创办人暨总裁 Brandon 曾国光。Brandon 是前美国海豹部队的军官，在阿富汗以及中东执行过多次的任务。2015年的时候，他跟哥哥 Ryan 一起创办了Shield AI， 开发可以在没有 GPS、没有通讯的环境下自主运作的无人机跟 AI 飞行系统。公司估值现在已经是27亿美金，那是全球最受关注的国防科技新创之一。Hi, Brandon. Our show has been following defense tech for a long time, and Shield AI is a company we have been watching closely, and really glad to have you here today. Can you give our audience a quick introduction of yourself?
Yeah, absolutely. One, thanks for having me, Fox. Really excited to be here speaking with you today.
Yeah.
A little introduction on myself. Let's see. So one, my name's Brandon Tseng. I'm the president and co-founder of Shield AI. Prior to founding Shield AI, I was a Navy SEAL. I deployed twice to Afghanistan, once to the Pacific Theater. Before I started my career in the Navy as an engineering officer on board a ship, and I deployed to the Arabian Gulf on a ship. I'm a mechanical engineer from the U.S. Naval Academy. I've got 3 kids, girl, boy, girl, 5 years old, 3 years old, 4 months old. Live with my wife and my kids in Virginia in the United States. And my fun facts are I am a Taiwanese American. My dad was born in Taipei, and my grandfather served in the Taiwanese government as a foreign service diplomat from 1949 to I think like 1983 in South America. So couldn't be more excited to be speaking with you, and really excited to share all the great stuff that we're doing here in Taiwan.
Yes. Okay.
Also, as you mentioned, you spent 7 years in Navy SEALs.
Yep.
What experience made you decided to leave the military and found a company?
Yeah, look, I really loved my time in the SEAL teams. It was a lot of fun. We got to do a lot of really cool missions. Yeah, it was awesome. Jumping out of airplanes, shooting guns is it's a really great time. But at that stage in my career, I had already been a Navy SEAL platoon commander. I didn't have a dream to run a Navy SEAL team, which a lot of my friends now, 20 years in, are now at that stage of life. And I just wanted to try something else. I was very attracted to the tech entrepreneurs of the world, the Elon Musks, the Jeff Bezos, and so I actually remember one of the things why I started Shield AI. Elon Musk said in his interviews in 2011, 2012, he wanted to work on the problems that would most impact humanity. It was the internet, and so that's why he started PayPal and X.com. It was space travel for SpaceX and sustainable energy, which was Tesla and Solar City. And I remember thinking to myself, what is a big problem that humanity faces that Elon Musk is not working on. And, what I decided was, what? The problem of warfare has plagued humanity for 4,000 plus years. It is one of the most destructive forces on the planet. It destroys lives. It destroys livelihoods. And I thought, I have this unique set of experiences. I could contribute to helping solve this problem of warfare. And I could work on that for a long time. And just to be clear, I don't think it gets solved in my generation or even my kids, but in the same way Elon Musk wants to become multiplanetary, I think the idea of a world without war is a mission that is worth working towards. And so that's why I started Shield AI.
Was there a specific moment that you thought like something need to be fixed?
Honestly, there wasn't a specific moment. It was actually like so many different experiences. And so when I was in the SEAL teams, it's not like I would go on a mission and be like, oh man, if I had just had an AI-piloted quadcopter, I could have done this so much better and so much safer.
Yeah.
Like when I was a SEAL, I had all the best technology in the world. I felt very well equipped to do what I could do. Now, when I was thinking about Shield AI, it was basically saying, okay, let me take a step back. What can I work on? I want to do something with AI and autonomy. I want to do something in the military, right? Wanted to do something entrepreneurial. And it was more about not the experiences, but, the experiences played into it, but asking myself, what should the military of 2035 look like? What is the role that AI and autonomy plays? And how can I help contribute to that world, right? And this was back in 2015. So I was asking myself what the military 20 years later should look like. How should military operations be conducted? And decided that basically everything should be powered, maneuvered, commanded by artificial intelligence.
Yeah.
Oh, so you founded the company with your brother. So how is building a company together with
your brother?
How do you think it is? Do you guys have siblings?
No, I don't, so I cannot imagine that.
But we can see lots of founders in Taiwan. They started a company with their spouse, maybe.
Oh, man, that would be I will tell you, the only thing harder than starting a company with your family member, like your brother or your sister, would be doing a company with your spouse. No, look, it's been. I'm really thankful that I got to start a company with my brother. The pros of doing a company with a family member, like you have incredible trust in them. You communicate so clearly with them and so quickly with them. There's no sugarcoating anything. It's just like, right? It's your brother. You're like, I've known. He's known me I've known him his entire life. He's known me for all but 2 years of his life, right? When I didn't exist, but. And so that's the pro of it. The con of it is that you communicate so well and so clearly and quickly with each other that you really know how to bother each other. And so, look, him and I, what's good is we have like a Venn diagram. We have some overlapping skill sets and overlapping values, right? We have the same values, but skill sets, like he believes in leadership a lot of the same way that I do, so that's good, right? Certain things around communication, he believes in the same way that I do. He's an engineer, like a hardcore engineer, and his brain works very differently than my brain. And I'm an engineer also, and I know how things work, but again, just very, very different. And so sometimes when we're working on a problem and he his solution versus my solution, I'm like, how the hell do you see it in that way? Like, are we looking at the exact same thing? But that actually is super helpful in business to have, a lot of different perspectives on how to do things. So it's been great. No
complaint.
Yeah, there'll be some complaints, right? If I'm honest, but look, we're very, and if he won't see it, maybe he'll watch this. But it's been fun in a lot of ways. And look, there have been times where we're yelling at each other, we're fighting with each other.
Yeah.
And those are the hard times, but we've been able to recover, right? Again, probably because of that trust, those values at the end of the day. And, shout out to him, probably because of that love also. So, but sometimes it makes it hard for me to love him in some instances when we're fighting. So, yeah.
So majorly, who is the face to face the investors?
So I do, well, for a long time, like Ryan was the CEO for 10 plus years. We brought on a new CEO.
Okay.
And Ryan's still at the company. He's still, he's a president. I'm a president of the company. Obviously, we just want to see the company win. So we both would do fundraising, very outwardly facing. He'd be doing the meetings, but I would be the driving force of all the fundraising. And so that's like just my core role and responsibility. I'd bring Ryan in for, the investor meetings as needed. But, there's the pitch, and then there is 20 different diligence calls that you follow up with the investors on. And so him and I would both be part of the pitch, but then I would be doing these 20 follow-up calls with investors to make sure they're comfortable understanding the risks, understanding the opportunities. That's what I would be doing. Still do to this day.
Got it.
Yep.
So
I was doing investor calls this morning. So,
it's very
at 1:30 in the morning here. So because it was 1:30 in the afternoon there. 1:30 and 5 p.m. was doing investor calls.
Time differences.
Yeah.
Back in 2015, AI was not the mainstream.
Yep. People thought it was just for cats.
Yeah.
Recognizing cat pictures.
Yeah, and yeah, indeed. At the time, its military background is a plus or minus when raising money in that time.
So, my military background, like what I'm forever thankful for, is I have like just the mentality of I'm going to accomplish the mission. That is super important. And all the values that I learned in the SEAL teams and have been ingrained with me, that's super important when running a business. But in 2015, no one was investing in the military, right? Defense technology did not exist in 2015.
It's blank.
Yeah, it was blank, 100%. I'll share a funny story. So Peter Levine, who is an investor of ours, legendary investor from Andreessen Horowitz. He's on our board of directors. He's a good friend of mine. He's been on the Midas list, which is the top investors in the world for 15 plus years, just a really long time. He's also a professor at Stanford University at their business school. And so in 2017, Andreessen Horowitz had just invested in Shield AI. And Peter came out to Harvard Business School, where I was at the time, and he gave a lecture on investing. And I didn't have an opportunity to go to the lecture, but a lot of my friends went to the lecture. And I called my friends up. I said, hey, what did Peter talk about? And then they said, oh, well, Peter says he just invests in really dumb ideas, and he just invested in the dumbest idea yet, which was Shield AI. And so I laughed, and I was like, all right, I'll have to ask him about it. So I called Peter up. I said, Peter, he's like, how's it going? He's like, I said, I heard you told everybody at Harvard that you just invest in dumb ideas and that you just invested in the dumbest idea yet, which is Shield AI. And he said, yeah, I did say that. But he's like, look, it's a really dumb idea, right, to get into a car with your stranger, right? My mom growing up, they're like, don't ever get into a car with a stranger, right? He's like, that's Uber, right? He's like, it's a really dumb idea to stay at a stranger's house, right? You're never supposed to go into a stranger's house. Airbnb. He's like, your dumb idea is everybody knows it's a dumb idea to work with the military, do government contracts. It's so slow that the only people that play in that space are Lockheed and Raytheon and Northrop. Like, it doesn't make any sense to do technology in the military. He's like, time will tell if that was a dumb idea or a clever idea. your job, Brandon, is to go show the world that it was a clever idea. He's like, but it could end up being dumb. We just don't know yet. And so, the cool thing is right now in 2026, I think with defense tech as an asset class in and of itself, and certainly Shield AI played a role in that, SpaceX, Palantir, Anduril, I think those 4 companies have created, were the trail, like in great credit to SpaceX and Palantir first and foremost. But then, if they were very much Shield AI and Anduril being the next ones to create this asset class.
Yes. So before we talk about the products, can you explain in simple terms what is Hivemind?
Yeah.
And how is it different from something like self-driving cars?
Yeah. Okay. So there are 2 aspects of Hivemind, and I'm going to make it really simple. There is the pilot, the AI pilot, which goes on top of any drone. That can be a drone as small as a quadcopter. It can be a drone as big as a fighter jet or as big as a ship or a submarine. Because people sometimes think it's there's lots of different types of drones out there. And it is self-driving technology for unmanned systems, right? It's no different than what Tesla is doing or Waymo is doing. We just are applying the same technical approaches that those companies are and applying it to military platforms. And what it enables, an AI pilot perceives its world with its sensors. It thinks about its world with its GPU, and then it maneuvers in the world, right? With its engines, its controls, its wings, whatever it is, it's maneuvering. It's an autonomous system. You and I are an autonomous system. We use our senses to perceive the world. We think about the world with our brain, and then we actuate our muscles to engage, and then we learn from those experiences. That is the exact same thing that Shield AI is doing for drones, AI pilots for drones, for military systems. It's the exact same thing Tesla is doing for self-driving cars and humanoid robots. And then the second part of Hivemind, we offer an enterprise software product. We call it Hivemind Enterprise. It's a software development kit. But the easiest way to think about it is it's Claude code for AI pilot development. It makes it really easy. And so what I can confidently say is no company in the world is faster at building AI pilots and integrating them onto unmanned systems than Shield AI. And so in Taiwan, and I'll just talk about it quickly here, NCIST, our contract with NCIST is about delivering Hivemind Enterprise, the software development kit, so that Taiwan companies, Taiwan drone companies can quickly build AI pilots and integrate them onto their own drones, their own unmanned systems. So 2 weeks ago, our team was out here. They met with the top 10 drone companies in Taiwan to basically say, hey, how can we help you build an AI pilot for your drone, or help yourself build an AI pilot so that they can operate while GPS and communications are jammed, so that they can swarm, so they can execute missions autonomously. Sorry, that's long answer.
So it's basically is a operation system.
Yep.
Or SDK for the drones.
Yep.
Drone the companies.
Yep. 100%.
Okay. So you recently flew Anduril Fury with Hivemind.
Yep.
So can you tell us what happened and why it matters?
Yeah. So again, what we are doing with Hivemind is building AI pilots for a number of different unmanned systems and drones. We have done probably 20 plus to this at this time. We have done everything from the VBAT to quadcopters, to a full-size helicopter made by Airbus, to one-way attack drones, to very large jet-powered drones made by Kratos. And we've done unmanned surface vessels, and we've done unmanned ground vehicles, and we're actually working on AI astronauts for satellites.
Wow.
So for Anduril, the cool thing that we were able to do, Shield AI, there was a competition. So the Collaborative Combat Aircraft Program, which is the U.S. Air Force's program to field these things called CCAs, Collaborative Combat Aircraft. It's a AI-piloted fighter jet. There's the hardware component, and then there's the software and AI pilot component. And so Anduril and General Atomics won the first increment of the hardware component, and Shield AI and RTX won the first increment of the AI pilot component. And so what they did, they said, okay, Shield AI, you're paired up with Anduril. You're gonna, your Hivemind is gonna fly their Fury drone, and RTX, which is Raytheon, you're paired up with General Atomics, and your AI pilot is going to fly General Atomics. But we can switch them out. Shield AI can fly General Atomics' aircraft if we want to also. And we've flown General Atomics drones also. But that is, it's a really cool thing to do. What's really cool is that program in the U.S. military is the first major program that has bifurcated into a hardware prime contractor and a software prime contractor. So we're the software prime contractor.
So what is the loyal wingman? How is different from a regular drone?
Yeah, so a loyal wingman, that's what the collaborative combat, these first increment, they're meant to fly ahead, alongside of F-35s, of F-22s, carrying, weapons, being piloted by AI, and they're able to read and react based on, what the F-35 is doing or, what the air power is doing. That's the concept of a loyal wingman. So I will say we're building our XBAT fighter jet, and I can talk about that, but that is actually, it can be a loyal wingman, but it's also independent. It can do the challenge with the aircraft that are being built right now, the other CCAs, they are loyal wingmen. They are not meant as independent aircraft that operate on their own. The XBAT is meant can operate, by itself.
So two different AI systems can switch on the same drone or aircraft. So why does it matter?
Look, at the end of the day, the military is looking to, they want more people to build AI pilots. They want more people to build hardware because they want to keep it competitive. They want a competitive marketplace. They don't want the Joint Strike Fighter program, which was, 20 years. It's an amazing capability, but it was 20 years late. They recognize that competition is good to get the best products into the ecosystem, into the warfighter, get the best products to the warfighter fastest, right? So they are going to always do these increments. They're always going to have these AI pilot competitions, which I think is good, for the industry.
Okay. So your drone can work without GPS and without communications. What's the hardest part about that?
Oh man, it's just hard.
It's hard.
No, look, it's I tell self-driving technology is probably is on the same technical difficulty level as landing a rocket from outer space.
Totally agree.
So, and it's like that's why it's taken Tesla about 11 years to get to where we are today. It's a really hard problem to solve. And so there are differences in terms of self-driving cars in the military in the sense that we have different missions and operations, and we're doing it on lots of different platforms versus self-driving cars. And self-driving cars have to worry about a lot of other different things. But it's just a hard technology, which I've lost a lot of hair, a lot of years of my life working on. But yeah, perhaps I don't think people realize how hard it is. It's really easy to say.
There are tons of edge cases. Especially in the spatial occasions.
I'll tell you, everybody says they can do GPS jamming, and everybody has an alternate position navigation timing scenario. go to Ukraine and ask the Ukrainians what products work when GPS is jammed. And I promise you, they'll say, well, the only one that works when GPS is jammed and it's not connected to a fiber optic cable, they're going to say is Shield AI.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay. So it was proven in Ukrainian
many
already.
times over.
Many times.
Yeah. And look, to the Taiwan audience that's going to be listening to this and why it's important, the very first one of the very first things that China would do in a conflict, they would jam GPS.
Jam everything.
Jam everything, right? And so if your weapon systems, if your drones are unable to operate without GPS, you're not in a good spot. And again, what I have talked to a lot of military leaders and leaders in the EY and the LY about is everybody's going to tell you they can do it, right? Because there's a lot of snake oil salesmen out here, like in the military. But just ask them to say, what's your qualitative data from Ukraine? What's your quantitative data? Walk us through how you're achieving this. And if they can't show you, I can pull up 20 different missions from Ukraine that we've done in the past couple months.
Yeah.
And every single one of those, GPS and communications is jammed.
Yeah, they will jam your weapons from space, from internet, and from everywhere.
Yeah. Yep.
Okay.
So another product getting a lot of attention is XPAD.
Yeah.
It's like on your T-shirt.
Whoa.
I'll tell you about this. Yeah.
So can you please?
You guys can have. I'll give this one to you guys.
Introduce the XPAD and where it stands right now.
Yeah. So, XPAD, this thing is. This is. I don't know. This might be 1/1000th the size of it.
Yeah.
Is a vertical takeoff, launch and land fighter jet. That is AI piloted. That Shield AI is building. It is the first AI piloted vertical takeoff, launch and land fighter jet ever built. The problem that it is meant to solve is runways are day zero targets. So again, what would China do on the very first day of a conflict? They're gonna jam your GPS and communications, then they're gonna blow out your runways. You know what the United States does? Like when we go to war, we jam the enemy, we jam their radar systems, and we blow up their runways.
Yeah, I saw that in Iran.
Yeah, Iran, Venezuela. First thing we did, Venezuela they only had 7 fighter jets. What do? We blow up their runways, blow up their 7 fighter jets on the runway.
Yeah.
India and Pakistan, right? When they're fighting, what does India go after? They go after the Pakistani runways. Israel and Iran. Iran has tried to blow up Israel's F-35s that are sitting on their runways. Russia, Ukraine. Ukraine has targeted Russian jets on their runways via whether it's attack of missiles or whether they snuck quadcopters into the country and blew them up that way, but they were targeting the runways. And Russia has obviously blown up Ukrainian runways. And so it's a big problem because especially for a country like Taiwan, where it's like, look, a small country, you're only have so many runways.
Yeah.
And so if all of a sudden in the first day of your conflict, your runways are destroyed and your Air Force doesn't have that vertical takeoff, launch and land fighter jet capability, you're stuck. You're not in a good spot. So we are building. The other thing that it does is it brings a lot of the capabilities that you would find in an exquisite fighter jet, a 5th generation, a 6th generation fighter jet, to a platform that is, the F-35 normally costs $100 million. It's an amazing aircraft, but when you look at there's the platform, there's a $10 million pilot, then there's the runways, the hardened bunkers, the maintenance, the operations, all in that capability. Again, it is amazing. And it's very thankful that the U.S. has built it. I'm very thankful that the U.S. can afford it. But total cost of that aircraft is roughly about all-in cost, $200 million per airplane. XPAT is meant to deliver the exact same mission sets at $30 million per airplane.
Low cost.
Yeah, low cost. And so that's what we're building. I'm happy to tell you like one other really cool thing about it. But yeah, this is a small version. Takes off, then flies. And the reason why this is on a stick, when fighter pilots are going through their mission debriefs, they have little fighter jets on sticks, and they're flying them around, showing things.
We saw
Not
that
a fighter pilot. I've just seen how fighter pilots do it. Yeah, in Top Gun. Yeah. So we now give all of our customers that we're working with a little XBAT on a stick so that they can maneuver them.
Yeah.
But this is yours now, Fox.
Thank you.
So I heard that you're planning to the first vertical takeoff this fall?
Yeah, so we're going to do our first vertical takeoff, launch, and land this fall. The other cool things about XBAT, like for your listeners, you should YouTube the X-13 aircraft. So a lot of people say, oh, can you actually build a vertical takeoff, launch, and land fighter jet? The U.S. Air Force built one in the 1950s. The engine technology wasn't good enough to make it useful, but and it was really hard for a pilot to actually land the aircraft, but it's all proven technology. And so with engine technology where it is today, we can actually make it a useful capability. And that is like a lot of people say, okay, what's the difference between an XBAT? Sorry to take your gift back. What's the difference between an XBAT and an Anduril Fury or a Lockheed Vectis or a General Atomics Gambit aircraft, right? These other CCAs that are being built. It's like, vertical takeoff, launch, and land is one thing that's very different.
Yes.
The other thing is the engine that we are using. So we're the only, if you call this a collaborative combat aircraft, we're the only one using a military-grade fighter jet engine. So we use the same engine that is in the F-15, the F-16. It's the GE F-110. And so what that means is we are able to generate 8 times more thrust than those other airplanes that I just mentioned. And with that thrust, you can do vertical takeoff, launch, and land. You can carry more payload. You can fly at higher altitudes. And then you can actually run electronic warfare, electronic attack payloads at much further distances and do the same missions that an F-18 Growler would normally do. And that's, again, very specific electronic warfare aircraft. We carry more weapons. We fly higher. And again, people don't realize how big this thing is. We're basically 70% the size of an F-18. We're a big fighter jet. And like if you compare it to these CCAs, they're actually like, we might be twice the size of something like an Anduril Fury.
Okay.
We're much bigger. Yeah.
And as you mentioned, the Fury. So XBAT and the Anduril's Fury, are they competitors or do they work together? Or you are making the AI for Anduril's drone, but
building
your own craft is not a conflict.
I look at our competition for XBAT. We want to go after the fighter jets, right? These are the F-16s, the F-18s of the world, the Eurofighters. We are going after the 4th, 5th, and 6th generation fighter jets that are being built. That's how I think about the marketplace. And look, there's a world where everything from an XBAT to these other CCAs that are being built, they're going to take market share from that. We designed XBAT to, in our belief, take as much market share as possible.
As you mentioned before, Shield AI is working with ANSYS in Taiwan. With the Hivemind into local drones projects. How did the partnership start?
Oh, man. So we actually started with the Taiwan Navy. But by working with the Taiwan Navy on VBAT and Hivemind, I think we were able to connect with ANSYS, and they became very interested. So for the Taiwan Navy, our objective is to provide 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, maritime domain awareness around all of Taiwan. And if GPS or communications are jammed, it doesn't matter because we have Hivemind on board. And so by working with the Navy, we got connected with NSYST because they were very interested because Taiwan wants to build, I think they're going to start with 40,000 indigenous drones that they build themselves. Again, we know we can help on the AI pilot side of that and help build the AI, help Taiwan build its own AI pilots, own those AI pilots, and integrate them onto Taiwanese drones.
So why is Taiwan, as you mentioned before, it started with Taiwanese Navy?
Yep.
So why did you choose to cooperate with Navy?
Taiwan?
Yeah.
Why come to Taiwan?
Maybe Japan, Korea, or
yeah. Look, so one, we work with Japan. Japan Navy we were selected for their maritime self-defense program for the VBAT. We work with Korea. A lot of Korean companies are using our Hivemind enterprise. Korean Aerospace Industries is one of them. I was on a panel with AIT Director Raymond Green the other day at the Indo-Pacific Forum, and I thought it was important because I do come to Taiwan a lot now. I came 6 times last year. This is my 2nd time this year. I'll be here probably 8 times. I joke I'm probably going to buy an apartment here. I actually love it here.
Okay.
But why am I in Taiwan? Our mission is to protect, Shield AI's mission is to protect service members and civilians with artificial intelligence systems. Our mission is to deter war. And so when I think about perhaps the largest problem that faces the entire world as it relates to national security and global stability, it is the threat of China invading Taiwan. And so if Shield AI can help Taiwan, if we can help the United States deter a war, that I think is it's super important. That's why I'm here. I wish that Shield AI was of the size and scale, and I wish that the technology was further along back when Russia invaded Ukraine, and if we had already delivered, 300 VBATs to Ukraine, I think, and had put them up on the border, I think you wouldn't have seen Russia invade. I want to, help Taiwan with all of their capabilities so that China says, you know what, I'm never going to invade Taiwan. It's just not worth doing it. We're trying to buy peace. We're trying to buy diplomacy another day. So that's why I spend a lot of time on Taiwan. And I can't think of a more important place to be if you care about national security and deterrence. And sorry, the last thing about it is the cool thing is we always get our VBATs are flying in Russia, Ukraine. Our VBATs are flying in the Caribbean Sea, going after all the drugs with the U.S. Navy and the Coast Guard. We get to operate whenever there's a conflict. They're taking our VBATs over to the Arabian Gulf for Iran. We were operating against the Houthis in the Red Sea. What's better than VBATs flying in combat is VBATs helping deter the conflict and the war, right? In Hivemind and XBAT, I think countries and what Taiwan's doing really well, they are investing ahead of a conflict because they take it seriously.
So coming back to Hivemind, what are some new things Taiwanese drones can do once they're installed?
They'll be able to operate while GPS and communications are jammed. They'll be able to autonomously execute missions. You can train them to execute whatever mission you design for it, and then they will be able to swarm and work together. So it'll be really cool.
Okay, so another question is, China is moving very fast in AI and drones. So how do you see the competition right now? And how long can U.S. keep the lead?
So U.S. is number one with software in AI, but I tell everybody, it doesn't matter if you're number one. Actually, being in first place is not a good place to be because everybody is always nipping at your heels and everybody wants to chase you. And what is frightening about China is their cycle time, the amount, how quickly they can innovate and go to the next, they go from version 0.1 to version 1.0 to version 2.0 to 3.0, 4.0, 5.0 faster than anybody in the world.
Yeah, I saw like trying to clone the VBAT.
Yeah, they will. Yeah, again, they will try to iterate and copy, and they will. Again, that's what they won't get it right the first time, but it's like what they can do is they can actually start spitting out capability really, again, quickly and iterating on it very quickly, going to the second version, the third version, the fourth version. And so that's what I worry about. I do think where they are better than the USA, they're better at manufacturing and production. The US is not bad at it, just to be clear. I think a lot of times people say, like, oh, the US can't. It's like, no, we're actually very good at manufacturing and production also. But China is better. But when I think about, it's not about China versus the USA. Like if I were to think about China versus the USA, I actually kind of like lose sleep. It worries me. But when I think about China versus the USA plus Taiwan plus Japan plus Korea plus Australia plus the Philippines plus India plus the Middle East plus Europe, that is when I'm like, you know what, we're actually like we outproduce China in terms of the manufacturing production. Our innovation, our software capabilities will be better than China. And I don't see how China would ever be able to take on the world, right? When I say the rest of the world, that USA plus Taiwan, Japan, Korea, all these countries that work together and share a similar way of life. That's why I can actually sleep peacefully. So
great. So this is a recent issue recently. Anthropic was recently listed as a national security risk by the War Department for refusing fully autonomous weapons. And Popularity, who said private company should not have the kind of veto power. What's your take?
Yeah, look, I obviously support the Department of War 100%. So just want to be super clear on that. What I tell people, and this is what I think a lot of folks in the U.S. tech industry, and probably other tech industries throughout the world, but certainly in the United States, what they don't appreciate is how responsible the USA is with incredible technology, incredible power. The USA, right, our military has lots of nuclear weapons. We have aircraft carriers that can do the most amazing things. We have all the power. The military has so much power in the world. There's nothing like it on the face of the planet, the U.S. military. And if you look, the U.S. military has actually been an incredibly responsible steward of that power. It's like the Spider-Man quote. I don't know if you,
of course.
With great power comes great responsibility. That is the USA. When I was hunting terrorists in Afghanistan, we had our Predator drones. We had all this technology, the sensors, where we could find terrorists in their house. The number of times we said, "Hey, let's actually not do a drone strike." Right? Because we don't know who's in the house alongside. We know the terrorist's in the house, but does he have a wife in the house? Are his kids in the house? What are the chances that, like, does he live too close to someone who is a non-combatant? And we probably, for every drone strike that we did, my guess is we probably walked away like 15 drone strikes because we were worried that someone else would get hurt. And so, again, it's just a lot of care and responsibility goes with that power. And that's what people, everybody's like, they get worried about the military. It's like, no. The checks and the balances and the care that they have is why I feel like why I fully support it. And if you haven't seen how that is done from the inside, I understand it's hard, but having been on the inside of that power apparatus and seeing like what we could do, you're like, okay, again, great power, great responsibility, and the U.S. military is like that.
Yeah, so you have been on the battlefield. So how do you think soldiers on the front line will see this issue?
What I'll tell you is I think in World War II, 90% of soldiers fought on the front line, and 10% were in support logistics role, right? Fast forward to the war in Afghanistan where I was, and it was 10% of soldiers were on the front line and 90% were in support, right? It was much smaller people doing it. As AI and drones become more prevalent, more ubiquitous on the battlefield, I think you will see frontline soldiers, the number of frontline soldiers go down. I do think you'll start to see drone versus drone much more. It already exists in Ukraine, where you'll see, like, actually, I'll tell you, we've had FPV drones try to hunt down the VBAT. Now we just fly too high for them to get to, and they've been unsuccessful. But that's drone versus drone. And look, you have an FPV pilot trying to hunt down an autonomous drone, but you're going to see more just like AI-piloted drones trying to take out other drones. And so, which is, look, I think it's a good thing. It means less people getting killed on the battlefield at the end of the day. So I think Elon Musk has a quote like, whoever has, the smartest drones ends up winning in conflict. And that's what I think will actually happen.
So it sounds like good things.
I think it'll be a good thing. I think you'll find it. Look, even technology, war is very destructive, but because of advances in technology over the past 20 years, it's become more precise. At least for the USA, right? We're very, very precise, and that is, AI will just help it make it even more precise, more lethal, but very surgical versus having to destroy an entire city.
Okay. So does Hivemind have any red line that you have drawn? Like for me, I hold the belief that the moral decision to use lethal force to take a human life, which I have had to make as a Navy SEAL, should only belong to human beings. That is my policy. That's Shield AI policy. That's the U.S. military's policy. That's NATO's policy. At the end of the day, there's going to be a human that says, okay, yes, you can take that life, or no, you can't take that life. And they'll set the parameters via the rules of engagement. So that's what, I can't envision, no one wants autonomous killing machines. And so we're not going to do that.
Okay. So it will always come back to humans to make the big decisions.
For the moral decisions. Big decision to take another human life.
Human in the loop.
Human in the loop.
Last questions. There are many young engineers in Taiwan who are very interested in the defense technology. But they didn't know how to start with. Any advice you will give them?
One,
would love to hire them at Shield AI. So we're growing here.
They're hiring.
We're hiring. Look, we've got we have 6 people. We have our office in Taipei 101. 5 of them Taiwanese nationals, and we'll probably have 20, 25 people by the end of the year. We'll probably have a couple hundred in the next 3 to 5 years. So that's, would love to speak to great people in Taiwan. The second thing is, if you're trying to do it yourself, look, read a lot, try to talk to the customer and understand their problems. And then I'll tell you, it's just going to be really hard and really awful. And there's going to be lots of setbacks. You're going to get, it's painful. So Get ready for that. That would be my other piece of advice. Like, if you think it's easy or going to be fun all the times, it is not.
It's not.
I think
as an entrepreneur, it's not.
Right? Jensen Huang, I actually love when he's like, look, like, they're like, what would you do now? He's like, I wouldn't do it. It's awful. It's painful.
I still do it.
I can't imagine, doing it again. So
okay.
So when you look back, like 10 years from now, maybe, what do you want Shield AI to be remembered for?
That's a great question. Look, I want Shield AI to be known as a company that the warfighters trust, that builds incredible products that deliver amazing value, that really inspire the warfighter at the end of the day too. Like XBAT, again, it's small right now, but this is inspirational. And I want us to have the challenging part, I would say, like, I would hope we are remembered for helping deter conflict. But it's like when you stop, stop something from happening, no one remembers it, right? It's not talked about it. Yeah. It's like, look, people, don't talk about, right, if there was a small fire in the building and someone took it out with a fire extinguisher, they only remember when it was a big fire, right? And so it's like, no, that person stopped it from becoming a big fire. No one remembers who that is. But that's okay. Like, at the end of the day, I just want Shield AI to be known as a company that helps protect service members, civilians, and has done it at scale, and is well trusted as a partner.
Okay.
Great question.
So Brandon, thank you so much for your time. We are really looking forward to seeing Hivemind in action in Taiwan.
Yeah, Hivemind, VBAT, and XBAT in Taiwan.
Yeah. Thank you
for bringing it all. Thank you.
喜欢本周我们分享的内容吗？
请到 Facebook、Instagram、YouTube 来留言，告诉我们你的想法。
我们都会看哦。